Hey guys, saddle up because we got another episode of Farmer Wants a Wife, episode 4.
Yeah.
Today we got a special guest for us.
That's right. As you can tell, Ashley's not here, but instead we got a man who is no stranger to this show, Mr. Ryan Black. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Glad to be back with you guys. And I like how you started that. Saddle up. Yeah.
It's more cowboy than farmer-ish, but you know.
That's right.
Yeah. Ranchers looking for love.
Yeah,
There you go.
Exactly.
I like that look, though. I like the hat.
Hell yeah.
Pulling it off,
Yes, sir.
man.
You looking good, man.
And we're
Trying to
missing
look
you
better.
this season.
That's right.
We are missing you this season.
Yeah, yeah, you know, it has been wholesome, and I think there needs to be a little bit of drama, but they probably need me for that.
That's right.
They sure do.
Yeah. Speaking of which, man, so I mean, you've been watching this season, you know, and now you ain't part of it, right? So you could just kick back, relax, and watch these guys go through this. So what are you thinking of it so far?
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to be on this side of everything.
Right.
And man, I think it's still it's a slow burn to watch it. And I think I don't know. I like all the girls. I like the guys as well, but there's a lot of maybe some extra vetting they maybe should have done after watching episode 4. You know, I've heard some people not be so sure about it, and that's kind of the same perspective that we got as the guys that we got on some of the girls. Is that after the 2 to 3 weeks of being on the farm and that vacation vibe and that bliss wears off, we started to feel that maybe some of them did not really want to be there. And I kind of get that you know, you miss home and everything, but the reality of it starts to sit in, and then the energy in the house just starts to shift so quick.
Oh yeah.
And I think I'm seeing that happen, you know.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, you know, when you're coming on the show, it's Farmer Wants a Wife. It's like you should be ready to be able to marry somebody and live on a farm and be ready for that, just kind of quiet, you know, just good, you know, down home lifestyle. And if, you know, and so you would think these women would be thinking about that way ahead of time and just kind of do some inner reflection, like, okay, am I really ready for something like this, you know?
Yeah, we kind of even
Yeah.
saw that with Megan, where, you know, she wasn't really
Yeah.
willing to make that kind of move. So,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure some of
And-
these girls are away from home for the first time. So that's tough. You know,
Yeah.
some people might be used to it, but if you're not, it's pretty tough. And you're
Well,
being in
see-
a house with all these women.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing, as far as like this season versus last, is no one knew the name of the show going in. We didn't know the network. We knew nothing. The girls didn't even know that they would be at a farm. They thought they were going to a resort. Like,
wow.
you know, the
Damn.
typical
Surprise.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they had no idea. But they wanted the girls to just come as they would, and that's why you had the outfits with the, you know, the really nice
Oh, yeah.
boots and the shoes. I mean, the coats and everything, because they didn't realize they were going to be staying at a farm. Whereas now, of course, everyone knows Farmer Wants a Wife. So I expect the girls on this season to be more prepared because the knowledge is there. So
Right.
definitely come ready to do what you're signing up for, because you actually know what you're signing up for.
Right. You get your blue jeans and t-shirts ready and just come up with some,
Yeah.
you know, working clothes.
Well, I'm sure the show loves the shock value. We all like seeing the unprepared city girl on the farm. There's
Right.
something like, you know, special about
Yeah.
that makes it kind of interesting. And they need some interesting moments on the show from time to time. You
No,
need,
definitely, yeah, no
you
doubt
need
about it.
like, you know, a certain woman
Especially
too that maybe might not be jiving with everyone else. Maybe it was Cassidy Joe the first season.
And now we got Reba,
This
right?
season is looking like Reba. What do you think about Reba,
That's
Ryan?
right.
Man, Reba's putting it on him, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
She's not holding back. She definitely speaks her mind. And you know, from first season, I really like Cassidy Joe. Cassidy Joe came, you know, strong and straight to the point. She definitely made you know, I was rewatching one of those episodes. She said, this is the first time you've complimented me this entire set. And he was like, no, I have complimented you more. She's like, no, you haven't. So she really came in like, you know, give me some compliments, you know, speak to me. She's trying to open them up more. And I think she was a little bit more of like productive, or what you call it, like a positive, you know, critiquing and whatnot. Whereas with Reba, I don't know if
She's got some
Ooh.
fire.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
And she's got it out for
Yeah,
Joy for
right,
some
right.
reason. But,
Oh,
uh,
Joy is on her bad side.
Oh, yeah,
oh,
big
yeah.
time.
And I don't
man.
even know what she did,
No,
but
right. But, you know, again, I mean, we're only seeing a few minutes of, you know, a full day or a full week or whatever is going on. So, I mean, I'm sure, you know, there's plenty of stuff that we ain't seeing that maybe why Reba doesn't like Joy or whatever. But, you know, from what we're seeing of Joy, she seems like a sweetheart, right? So, yeah, I don't know, man.
Now, what do you think about these farmers on this season?
Oh man. I like the guys. I like all 4 of the guys. You know, coming into it, I thought my favorite was going to be Mitch.
That's who we're rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has a way with his words. Somewhat reminds me of Landon from our season.
Yeah.
Just knows what to say, how to say it, and the delivery's there. But as I watch him, I'm a little bit unsure, just from my own perspective. Is he just smooth with the girls, And I kind of pick up that vibe.
Well, I knew someone else that was,
that's right.
like that. So
I don't know who you guys talking about. But
yeah, no, I'm definitely getting that vibe.
You getting that vibe?
I'm getting that vibe from Mitch now as well, especially after this episode for sure.
Yeah, and we got some young farmers. What, Nathan is
like
23. Yeah, and then we got Ty, who's on the upper end of the scale, 42.
Yeah, and that one I didn't understand quite, because I know how I was at 23, and most 23-year-olds. So I wasn't really sure from the front end if he was really genuinely looking for a wife. But I'm not gonna hold it against him. That was just my perception when I heard he was a 23-year-old was going to be on the show. And I would probably get the same thing hearing a 23-year-old girl like our season was on the show as well. And I was like, are they there for just the fact that they get to be on TV, or are they there actually to help through, find what the process is about? But and then Brandon, I like him as well. I will be honest. At the beginning, I wasn't so sure about Brandon, but he grew on me after this last episode.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too.
I mean, a lot.
Yeah, because Brandon was always just, to me, I was like, man, he's kind of just a goofy dude, man. Like, just wasn't, like, I wasn't feeling him. I was like, but yeah, after this last episode, definitely, he was definitely growing, and I like, he seems to put himself out there a little more in this episode, and almost kind of take control of the situation a little more in this episode. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, and I like his delivery to the girls, and I would venture to say that maybe he watched our season and figured out what not to say.
right.
Well, there's definitely a lot of that going around.
Right.
So let's get into this episode. Yep. They're from the mixer to the solo dates.
Oh, yeah.
So we start off with Brandon and Grace, and they have a picnic on the back of the truck. That seems to be a popular move for everyone on this show.
Does,
so at some point you got to do it, right?
Did you have many of those, man? You have many of the picnics on the back of the truck, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I had one. Hunter had like 4.
Right.
and Allen had a couple as well, and Landon did too. So yeah, man.
Now, is this something that really goes down, or is this something the producers are putting on you? Do you guys really have picnics in the back of the pickup truck?
We did when we were 19, because you couldn't bring the girl home back to your house,
right?
So you picked her up. You met up at a field and you kind of hung out because you couldn't take her home or anything. But today, I mean, I don't know, and it could be a lost art, It could be something we need to bring back.
That's true.
It looks good for the show, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And they got the little lights going on. It's kind of romantic. They're sitting there watching the sunset, about to buy a pickup truck. See how it goes.
There you go. Yeah, you can go to Lowe's and rent you a pickup truck for $20.
That's right.
There you go.
For 4 hours.
But they're snuggling, and he's feeding her grapes.
Yeah. He's assertive, making the moves. We did a little making out there, and I was like, all right.
Yeah. What do we feel about Grace?
I thought it was a good date, man. I mean, she wasn't my favorite pick out of his group, but after seeing that, I was like, yeah, they look good together, man.
Yeah, and
that's kind of what I was thinking too. I've been waiting on like the kissing police, because they were kissing from episode 1.
Yeah,
and I call heat.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were the first to get it on,
right,
so
exactly.
These guys must have took some lessons from you,
right?
I think everyone except Nathan here.
Yeah, no, Nathan is like a slow roller, big time, man. Because I mean, old girl, he went on his date with her, and she's like, "Bro, you gotta pick it up, man. You gotta start doing some flirting with these girls. You gotta do something here, because it ain't working right now."
Yeah, and then he has the women clean the tractors.
Brandon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So now, how long do you think this lasts, Ryan? Like, this is for the show. Are these women going to be doing this on the farm when they get there for real?
As far as cleaning the tractors, probably not. More, I know they probably will never do that, but it probably did make for some good content, because they do want to see the girls work.
Sure.
But it's also a potato farm, and it's massive, so it's already set up on an assembly. Like, everything's just automated. So I don't know if the girls need to so much get used to potato farming as they do need get used to living remotely with no neighbors and probably bad cell phone signal.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
Well, free labor is always nice.
That too.
But he is not really feeling Annellyse and Brooklyn at this point.
Yeah.
So he's kind of questioning that.
But you know, on the flip side though, he hadn't really given either one of them much time, right? Like Annellyse, man, she's a very just outgoing, just sweetheart, just you know, good-hearted girl, man. She seems like she's upbeat the whole time, and even though she ain't getting time with him, man, she's still just got that upbeat attitude, like she's there for the right reason and have fun, you know.
Yeah. And what's it like for these women living in these houses? Do they actually live in the farmer's house?
Yeah, so they're living there 100% of the time.
Wow.
Most of the time, cameras are off at night, so these girls really get time to mingle. And I think what we're seeing is, you know, there's a lot of backstory behind some of the energy that you find when you're from an audience standpoint versus the reality of the situation. So, you know, I think because I like the way Annellyse and Brandon were kind of vibing there at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And also the one he sent home, I think that with maybe the Reba and Joy situation, it's been so intense that the other girls have kind of stepped aside a little bit.
That's a good point.
And yeah, and even if they're, and I think that maybe even, you know, they may be good matches for them, but the other heat and the other girls just, maybe they don't want any smoke with Reba, you know?
Yeah, well, and the funny thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the funny thing is his excuse to her was like, you know, I'm more of an introvert, kind of low-key, quiet guy, and that's what I'm looking for. And it's like, bro, you're keeping Reba. It's like,
yeah, that's true. That's what he says to Brooklyn.
Yeah, he said to Brooklyn, right?
But at first he pulls Annellyse out, and then, you know, I guess he's trying to, like, fill them both out to see, like, who he's going to let go or not. Yeah. And then she tells him about his mom, and that's pretty...
About her mom, yeah.
Yeah, about her mom, and that's pretty unfortunate and stuff like that. And we know you lost, like, your brother, right?
Brother.
So,
yeah. And
so that's tough.
They connected right there in that moment, and I think that really saved her spot for another week.
Yeah. Do you think maybe he was going to let her go until that happened? Because if that was his plan, that would be pretty tough. If someone tells you, and you're like, well, geez.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But no, I think, honestly, I think when I watched her clean the tractor and how he communicated with her, I think there's some connection going on, maybe even behind the scenes that we're not catching. So I think she got a good spot. She may even have another good week from what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think so, man. I'd definitely like to see more of a connection between those two and them to actually, you know, kind of fill that out and see what happens, you know.
And how good are these, like, cameramen catching all these moments? Are they there constantly, or are they missing out on a lot of stuff sometimes?
No, we had about 8 cameras going all at the same time. And each camera has a team of like 4 people. So there's like 30, 40 people just making sure cameras are catching everything at all times.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So they're catching it. And but yeah, I like what's happening between Brandon and Annellyse. I think we're gonna, because if you notice the first 3 episodes, she really was like distant. We never knew really anything about it. I don't even know if she spoke.
Yeah, not much.
And this is kind of tough, and even tough about the show, because there's a decent amount of women at this point. And, you know, everyone always argues for more alone time, but it's kind of tough. And this is like an accelerated kind of show with this. And maybe you got to make the most out of little moments you have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Farmer's
wife is known for not making you send someone home, just letting it be random.
And I think, you know, after watching season 1, I think maybe some of these dudes realized, you know, that some of you guys season 1 might have waited too long. I think there was 1 or 2 guys that waited, I think, a little bit too long to start letting women go. And, you know, you got to start picking it out a little bit earlier than that, I think, so you can spend the time with the ones who you really want to spend the time with. And I think maybe these guys kind of learn from that. And it seems like most of them, for the most part, are actually doing pretty well is keeping that balance good, you know?
Yeah, because it was Landon and Hunter, they held on a lot longer than Alan and I.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I've been saying that. I think, Nathan had the unfortunate situation with the one girl who never. Yeah,
and they never brought her back up yet. Yeah. So Mackenzie, I think it was.
Yeah, Mackenzie. Yeah, so I guess she ain't coming back.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah,
but they should probably give an update on that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So now we talked about this before. What's your thought about this, man? So when you guys do the hoedowns and everybody's together, hanging out, having a good time, like the rodeos and the dance parties and all that,
the mixers.
Yeah. Would it be cool if they would let you know, because, you know, of course, the women are talking to the other farmers and all that. Like, maybe they got a better connection with a different farmer, like, you know, swapping farms, you know?
See, I think that would be good if there was a way that the farmers were also eliminated if they weren't finding, because if you start moving the girls around so much, it's too many farmers to keep up with who's bouncing where.
Right, right.
It is a lot of people as it is.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
Yeah, but I think it is a good point you make, because when you're at the mixers, you know, there are people that kind of vibe, you know, naturally, because that one girl, she may not be connecting with her farmer, but over the course of weeks, she's, you know, maybe flirting with another farmer. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now we hear, like, you know, we'll get to it, but like people might not want kids and be on that same page, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, like the Ty and Amy conversation in this one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and see, I personally, as far as Ty, I like Ty, but that's what I was worried about whenever he said that. I don't know why. I think either the girls should have known that when they were signing up, or he should have said it more so. I think
during a speed date,
clarity.
Yeah, that should have been something that came up during the speed date, probably, right? I mean, because he's 42 years old, you know. I mean, and I'm with him, man. I'm like, you know, we're in our 40s, man, and I'm like, you know, I ain't having no more kids, man. I got enough kids, and I've got grandkids now, and I'm like, I'm done, man. You know, I couldn't imagine being 60 and still having a high schooler in the house. Like, no, I ain't done with that.
Yeah.
So Brandon ends up getting rid of Brooklyn. And I mean, we kind of saw that coming. I think they didn't seem like they had a strong connection.
I mean, he made it pretty clear that, you know, it was, you know, between her and Annellyse, and after that conversation with Annellyse, and then she got to stay, and it's like, all right, you know, at that point, I was like, all right, Brooklyn's toast.
But she thought they had the most in common before she got eliminated.
You know, and you feel bad for her. She's a sweetheart, right? I mean, you know, every time you see her talking and stuff, she's a sweet girl. I mean, and they all are. So, you know, you kind of feel bad for them when they do get eliminated, but, you know, it's got to happen.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate if that's a blind side, but.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Is I'm a little worried because I think that Brooklyn may have been a good match, but the fact that they have put the camera on Annellyse, I think we're going to start seeing some momentum from her in the coming weeks. I don't know.
Well, we haven't seen much from her. There's other people like Taylor we've seen very little from, so I'd like to see more of these people.
Yeah. Well, and in the preview, it showed Annellyse pull him aside, like, "Hey, we got to start doing some talking here." So, I like that she did that, right? Because, you know, if you want some time, then just be forthright about it. Be like, hey, man, I ain't spending much time with you. How about you spend a little time with me?
Yeah, and it was a little tough to see Brooklyn, and I like how he told her though, and that's why I like him more after this episode, is because most of the time you won't hear a guy say that. When practically he was saying your energy and the way you vibe and everything is too much. Like, it's more than what I'm looking for, and a lot of times you don't hear guys, you know, just be that honest and straightforward. Yeah. And I can respect him for that. And he put it all on him, and that was a cool move.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, he handled that very well, and he was like, look, you know, you're an amazing woman. You're gonna make, you know, some guy, you know, super happy one day, and you know, and she took it with grace too. You know, she was crying, but she was like, look, I get it. You know, we just don't, you know, we ain't vibing, that's okay. And so yeah, that was good. Now, I mean, when Reba goes, I don't know if it's gonna be, you know, if Reba goes, I don't know if it'd be that nice, right? But we'll see.
Now here's the thing: like, his reasoning with getting rid of Brooklyn was a little off, though, right?
Right. Well, because again, like I said, because, you know, his reason, like, hey, I'm looking for somebody low key, is like, well, dude,
but here's the deal:
Reba and she ain't low key.
Maybe he thinks that about Reba, but is the show going? Reba's really good for the show because she brings the drama,
right?
So we need to keep Reba around. Do they put any pressure on anyone for something like that, Ryan?
That's those are my thoughts from that angle. I'm like, because we are. I mean, Farmer Wants a Wife. This season it's a little dull,
right?
And I mean, it's dull. Let me take the little out. And,
right. No, it is.
And you need some drama every now and then, and Reba brings it.
And at the end of the day, it's about ratings, right? So I mean, yeah, it's about, you know, trying to get these farmers to find love, but it's also trying to make sure that they're getting some ratings for the show.
Right. To keep it going. So they have two goals in mind, and I think that Reba definitely adds that. But I don't know. You know, like say I'm not really sure what the actual angle is, but I would take that, you know, assumption for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to Mitch, and he's hanging out with Kait.
Yeah, I like Kait, man. You know, Kait's cool. I don't think he's gonna choose her at the end, and I'm surprised he didn't try to kiss her, right? Because he he made out with Sydney, and I thought on this day for sure he was gonna try to, you know, pull something with Kait, but it didn't happen.
And does that mean something? Because he's already kissed women, he doesn't kiss her, so does that saying something?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But, I
But
mean,
she's a pretty girl. So.
Yeah, she is. And the date went well, I thought. I thought it was a good date.
Yeah, they went two-stepping.
And what do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm torn a little bit between, is Mitch looking for like a trophy wife? Is he looking for that solid connection? Because I like how smooth he is, I do, but I think that him being so smooth plays into the fact that he likes the trophy wives. I mean, because you have to be smooth to pick those type of girls up, and he definitely already has that in his arsenal. So I think that may be because he's a first generation farmer. He just got his farm.
Yep.
He's never, this isn't, he's not that homegrown. Well, I mean, he's not that old school farmer, generational farmer where those are his roots. So who knows what his roots actually are? And is he the type, because, he's a good looking guy. So is he the type that goes for those type of girls, or does he go for the homegrown type of girl? Whereas he's never really had that. He's not a generational kind of farmer.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's kind of what I'm getting. But like I said, I could be completely wrong because I think it's Sydney, right? That he's connecting with.
Yeah, he was connected with Sydney right off the bat. She was like the first one that he connected with, right?
Right. I see a lot more like wholesome in her and homegrown, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to get Mitch. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, so speaking of Mitch, I know you're a horseman, Ryan. What do you think about that horse?
Okay, well, I'm glad that he got a horse at his farm. But him and I probably should hang out a little bit and do some cowboy.
You can teach him.
Yeah. We can take it from there.
That barn's a little rough too. So
yeah, and if we hang out, and I think him and I hang out soon, and we can do some cowboying and really, because he stepped into this life, and so might as well just give it out to him. So I'll open my door, my gate for him to come in and hang out a little bit.
Yeah. Have you talked to any of these new farmers yet?
I talked to two of the guys before the show, before they were selected, just about like what's the experience like, and just some questions they had for me, and I kind of just kept all that stuff private because I just wanted them to kind of go in it with their own experience, because I didn't know what Fox had coming for them.
Right.
And so it could have been completely different than my experience. And so we didn't talk. I wouldn't let them know any of the contractual stuff, because everything could be different now for them. So, but yeah, but I haven't spoken to them obviously since any of that. I'm more so at this point, I'm just an audience for the most part.
Just a viewer.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I thought he was definitely I thought that horse was definitely a little too small for him, man. It's like you can break that horse, man.
Yeah. That horse is too small because he's a big fella.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta
like
start off small, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I will say that horse had a little bit of like a Frisian or draft bred into it, and that's just a breed of horse. So it was really big boned. So that horse did allow those horses are built for that design, for they're shorter but they're strong built horses.
Sturdy.
That wasn't your standard quarter horse.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So so yeah.
But he does seem like he's vibing with Kait, and they seem on the same page when they're at the bar and things like that. So, and they don't really show Mitch too much this episode, but they're having dinner by the campfire, and he doesn't let anyone go.
No, he keeps everybody. He's like, hey, keep you ladies again for one more week, see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think he should. I think he should let someone go, because I think he's running into some issues. And that's why I also have that assumption of maybe he's looking for that trophy wife, because some of the girls aren't really connecting that well. There's some disconnects heavily on his farm right now. And I think he's just overlooking them, because the way he's connecting with Sydney, I think Sydney may need him to let someone go so she feels in a stronger position.
Right. Well,
yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because you saw it last episode when he was sitting by the tree with her, and they made out, and then when the counter to pick somebody for the date, she was all smiling. He was saying, "Oh, I'm picking this girl because X, Y, and Z," and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's me," and then he picks Kait, and then a look on her face when that happened.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to Ty, who's hanging out with Amy, and they hit the town.
Yeah.
They get some dinner. Let me tell you about this place, man. That's the biggest salad I've ever seen.
Oh, dude,
I might have to
that
check
shit
this
was
place
huge.
out.
I was like, damn. Yeah, no kidding. That salad came out. I was like, man, they can have like 5 people eat that
Lambert's
thing, man.
Cafe. I was like, good Lord. They're throwing
the
bread
rolls.
like footballs in there or something. I got to check that
That's
place
right.
out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I liked Amy, man. I think Amy is a good match for him. You know, I like the vibe they had together. But of course, you know, they start talking about kids, and she's like, "Well, look, you know, I want to be a mom," and he's like, you know, and we just talked about this a little bit.
Everything's going great until that conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, she's definitely got some stuff to think about.
She comes off really professional and grown, and I really like her vibe and her energy. But it always brings me to that. Because she looks like, to me, the lady that's ready to start a family. She's probably going to be a phenomenal mom. She probably has a strong family background. She looks like she has that foundation. She's professional. She's built a career, and she's open. So she would make a good match for him. But I don't think she is going to accept the fact of not having children. I think that's just
I think that's probably a non-starter.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker.
I mean, he's 42, so I get it. Like that's pretty old to be having a newborn and stuff. And like, you know, and they probably wouldn't even start having kids to a little while anyway.
At least a couple more years. Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't imagine being in my 60s and still raising a kid. It's like, nah, I ain't having that.
Yeah, they probably should have put more older women in his camp there. So
yeah, or some single mothers at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that may not be open to having more kids as well. And then he could have played that stepfather figure while they're playing that stepmother figure. But you're bringing in a 31-year-old lady who, you know, the clock is ticking. She's like, look, I'm looking for my husband, and I'm also, you know, she's ready to get that family started. And what I'm picking up off of her, Amy, is she's that type of person. Like, she's gonna be a good mom, good woman, and you know, you can see that. And but yeah, that may be a deal breaker. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is, man. But you're right. She's very grounded. You can tell she's definitely there for the right reason, right? She's there to find her husband, you know, start a family, and but yeah, I think the kid thing is definitely gonna be a deal breaker on there.
Yeah, and she spreads the word when she gets back to the house, and a couple of other people surprised by that too, which is a little weird. So
yeah. But because now they're all concerned.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Because that's a big deal to a lot of people, especially women. So
so speaking about being a mom, though, so then he takes them all out there with his daughter and
brings his daughter Lennon in. So
man, that was cool, man. You know, she did a little you know, going around the barrels with the women and kind of got to chat with her, and she was digging Megan. But of course, Megan had the upper hand on that, right? Because Megan's an 8th grade teacher. This girl's in 6th grade, so she knows how to deal with kids, knows how to talk to them. So that just worked out really well for her.
Yeah, Megan and Melody, I guess, stood out the most to his kid. So,
and I don't want him to be blinded by that, because that's, you know, that perception is totally different. Like, I didn't really like that. I mean, it's cool, and I like Megan, but I don't want him to be kind of persuaded, like, okay, just because of that situation.
Right.
And I can see how it could play a major factor at the same time.
But that's really important. I once knew a man that like took his mom's word who liked someone that was really important.
That's right.
That's it.
So apparently that could carry a lot of weight.
You know what? It does carry a lot of weight. But and now that guy you once knew, you know, you guys are hanging out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so you're right.
So what do you think of Melody? Because they hit it off really early, and they seem like a good couple together.
That's the one, and I was forgetting her name, but she's the one. I think she has a more unique look. She was saying that she wasn't pressed for a solo date. Am I right?
No, Melody's the one that he took on the first initial date.
Okay, there's one that was saying, like, in the previews they showed her saying, "I'm ready for a date," but I remember her saying, like,
before she was like, yeah, go ahead and date a couple of these girls. I'm cool, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? What's her name?
Yeah, I can't think of her name right now. But we know in the previews she was like, "All right, now I'm ready for my date, and I better get it right." So
yeah, and I like her personally. I personally think that may be the one for him. And I don't know why I don't know her name, and I have that opinion because I felt like when she told him, like, you know, I'm comfortable, go ahead and date these other girls, I felt a level of confidence in her.
Oh, yeah.
Just by saying that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And I was like, that's a good, you know, a good look there. So, but I like Ty, you know.
Yeah, no, Ty's cool, man.
Seems like a good guy for sure. And he doesn't send anyone home this week either.
No. No, he's still got 4 now, right?
What do you think about Ty's daughter? What do you think about that? What do you think about him bringing her on?
Yeah, I mean, typically, as a single dad myself, typically you're not gonna, invite your kid to meet that person for months and months and months of dating, right? I mean, you're gonna make sure it's a strong relationship before you do it. But for the sake of this show, I mean, well, number one, it's gonna get ratings, right? You got one of the farmers bringing their kid on to meet the women and all that stuff. It's gonna get ratings. And I, for him saying, yeah, I just want my daughter to kind of get an understanding of how this works and kind of get to meet these women and get her feel for these women. I mean, I guess I get it. I mean, but typically. I mean, you're not gonna bring your kid to meet somebody, after only knowing them for like a week, You would hope people don't do that, right?
Yeah, and I'm not surprised they did that. So
yeah. And my opinion when I've seen her, she can really ride. That little girl can ride. So I know that he's running a good program there because when I was watching her ride around, she has a really good handle on the horse, and that really touched me to see the him passing that on. And just that cowboy lifestyle is important to me. So I was like, when I seen that, I had respect for him in that aspect because for his daughter to be riding that good at such a young age means that he's true to the craft. And so I like that part of it. But and so yeah, I mean I like that. I think that it gave the girls an opportunity because kids they don't have a filter. They just tell it like it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just watching him ride when he's doing the team roping, man. I mean, it seems like he knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah, I think he does know what he's doing. And I watched some videos on his Instagram of some professional ropers that he was roping with too. So he's definitely top of the heap. But I just wanted to know if he was, like the cowboy way is spreading that on, and of course he's bringing his daughter up in it really well. So that was cool to see.
That's definitely awesome.
And he does say they're a package deal, so I guess he does value her opinion on this, and got to be vibing with someone, I guess. So
no doubt.
Yeah, because I once knew a guy who took his mom's opinion and. That's
right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But moving on to Nathan and Rachel.
Yeah, and
they're hanging out on the pier.
Yeah,
not for long.
No, and I tell you what, man, I appreciated just the straight honesty between both of them with it, right? And, they just both felt out and said, all right, yeah, you're looking for one thing, I'm looking for another. It obviously ain't matching, so this just ain't going to work.
Well, she says she wants to see the world, and no one's going to stop her from doing it, really.
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole vetting process, right? Like, if you're going to vet these women, it's like, why are you going to go on a show with a guy who's got a whole farm to take care of, who ain't going to have time to travel, at least not right now, And, especially when you're trying to build a family, it's like, this ain't the show for you. If you want to go on a dating show or a love show to find a husband, it needs to be a different one, not Farmer Wants a Wife.
Right. And I think that I don't want to remove myself from believing that she knew that on the front end, but maybe she just got that vibe once she got in the setting because his energy or his vibe could have not connected with hers. And then she was like, yeah, this isn't for me. Right. But at the same time, I think she also has that thought of she isn't ready to settle down yet. But I mean, so there's two perspectives. If you're ready to settle down, you're looking to settle down and this show approaches you, you'll be open for it. If you're not ready to settle down and you're living life on the edge and you're just enjoying anything that comes at you and this show approaches you, you're going to take the opportunity. And I think that's what's happening is some of these girls, they're just taking the opportunity because, hey, you get a chance to be on TV and
right.
Yes, I'm going to do it.
And then you can start a podcast after and, try to make money, right? So
there you go. And you get your followers up and everything. And I think they're having that issue. But I cannot argue with the fact that they're approached with a lifetime opportunity. They're taking it,
Yeah, no, that's true.
And unlike Ty, he's Nathan's ready to have kids like almost immediately.
Oh yeah.
And she wasn't for that either.
Yeah, no, he definitely seems to know what he wants. He knows exactly what he's looking for. And I'm glad that as soon as he realizes she ain't looking for that, there was no like, oh, well, let me keep her around for another week. He's like, no, it's time to cut ties.
Yeah, but they hope to stay friends. So, are you friends with a lot of the women that were on your farm?
Well, I communicated lightly with Sarah V. And other than that, really, that's really the only one. She was always that type of person that was really,
yeah, she was super cool, man.
Right, super cool, easy, good to talk to and everything. But outside of her, No, I'm friends with some of the girls from the other farms like Kelsey and Kylie, Cassidy, Joe. We did a TikTok live about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, Rebecca and I, we communicate some. So yeah, I'm friends with a handful of the girls. Yeah.
But
I personally like Nathan. He reminds me of like, you know, up here we have farriers that in the farriers they put horseshoes on, clean, take care of the horse's feet. He gives off that vibe. Like he looks like a farrier to me. And every time he's on the TV, I tell, you know, Taylor, I'm like, God, he reminds me of a farrier. But he's a cool dude, got good energy. But I do think Rachel was right. I think that he definitely, because there's no, what did they call it when I was on? They said I was I wasn't shy about my it's what do they call that, affection. There it is.
Right. I think they worded it many different ways.
Yeah.
Well,
Nathan
before
or somebody.
Rachel left, she gave him some advice and said, "You need to be a little more flirty with the other women."
Yeah, the affection part. Yeah, I think he definitely should. He
Should've
definitely
called you
has
up,
to show
huh?
some more things.
You got to teach Mitch about horses. You got to teach Nathan about freaking women, dude.
Especially if this guy wants to start a family early, he's got to get it going.
That's right.
Yeah, and because with affection, it lets the girls know that even if you like one of them, if you're not showing any affection, she doesn't feel like you do,
right?
Or at least she doesn't feel like you're serious about it.
Well, that was Cassidy Joe's big thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, it's Cassidy Joe's thing, but it was funny, you remember, because Cassidy Joe she cracked at me about kissing, but then she was over there like, I want somebody to kiss
begging for it. She was begging for it.
Yeah. So I think that he definitely needs to get a grip on that, because that's what I've been picking up as far as watching him is, but it could play in the fact that he's young, so the cameras and everything, he may not be ready to be that affectionate on camera, even though he signed up for it. It may just be affecting his morals maybe, or his values there. But he still has to get a grip on it, or the situation just passing by.
Well, but I do like that he brought it up to the women afterward. He's like, she mentioned this to me, that I need to start being a little more assertive and this and that. And of course, they're all like, we need some quality time,
Yeah, and they told him he needed to be more flirty. But the issue, I think, is I don't know if it's really in him, because if it was in him, it would just come out naturally.
Right. Yeah.
So him having to force it out to save face more so, or maybe save the connect with the women, I think that's going to be difficult. I think the girls may have to understand that he may not be that affectionate in this time in his life right now.
He's got to find one that he just connects with and it feels natural.
Yeah, no doubt.
And hopefully he finds that. He does have them. He brings in the chicks and has them clean the coop up.
Yeah.
But
it's funny because he was like, the coop's a little under the weather, and like, bro, I think it needs to be torn down and rebuilt, man. You just need a whole new coop, because that thing, that would look old as hell, like it was falling apart. I was like, you just need to tear that shit down and build a brand new coop.
Now, what do they do for these working moments? Do they just walk around your farm and think of stuff for these women to do, or how's that work?
Yeah, that's all they really do is they because like my farm, I have a ranch hand. I had 2 at the time of the show. And I've been here, a handful of years. So before the show got here, everything is working like as it should. So they were like, "What can we have them do?" And I said, "Well, they're animals. They take care of themselves, half the time." So I had sand I was going to spread in the arena, and I was waiting till my tractor guy out of the shop, and they were like, "No, let's just have the girls spread it with buckets." Yeah, and so they were, just to make them work. So I think most of the time they just try to create content. Because they do want the ladies to know that you are at a farm. Yes, you will have to work, but the reality is when you tell that farmer, like, hey, you're going on a TV show for 6 weeks, we start putting things in place to where all the work is being taken care of.
So now Nathan doesn't send anyone home either.
Nah. Well, he's down to 3 anyway, right? So.
Well, yeah, I would say 1 left.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He did send her. Well, they kind of mutually agreed that she was going to go home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But who do you see him connecting with right now? I mean, are we having the same thoughts Rachel was having?
Yeah, exactly. I think we are, man. I think exactly the same thoughts Rachel's having. Yeah, and like you said, maybe he just, he's young, shy guy. That just ain't, that's just not in him right now to be assertive and flirty like that. But if it's not, it's just making for a dull camp on his side, right? So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got to
that's
come up with
bad
something
news.
soon.
right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, he's a good looking guy. He has that going for him. He has, he's at a right age, but something has to happen for him, or he's going to come across a nice looking woman that he's not going to show any affection to, but he's genuinely going to like, and
Yeah.
she's may get mixed signals. I don't know. He's going to have to work on that. Yeah, yeah, and maybe after the show, he works on it really good, or who knows the results. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, and I thought it was cool that she gave him that advice. She was like, "Look, you and I ain't working out, but tell you what, it ain't gonna work with any of them unless you start doing this. Like you
Yeah.
need to start flirting and showing some interest in these women, kind of get this stuff going." So
Yeah,
it was
because
cool. It was cool of her to do that.
it sounds like had he have been flirting, she'd have been more into
Yeah,
staying.
yeah. No, you're right, man. Probably so.
And then, with him being young and then he's on TV, it's probably so overwhelming. And his head is spinning. He's trying to come off as perfect and doing all the right things and make no mistakes. And he probably has family talking to him like, be careful doing this. And remember what happened to Ryan when he brought up the E word.
Right.
You know.
Oh man.
Yeah, it must be crazy to date 5 women at once. So
Yeah, no
You
doubt.
can't. It's an unfortunate situation, and you think it's cool. Like it sounds cool on the surface. I was like, yeah, I can handle that.
Till you got all that estrogen in the house, and it's like, oh shit, what'd I get myself into?
Yeah, yeah. You go to bed early. I was going to bed early, waking up late, and just trying to stay out of the way, man.
it's
Right.
tough to balance everyone's needs. It's hard enough with 2 people.
Oh
so.
yeah, man.
Yeah, and especially in a relationship basis, you want to genuinely grow it, and that was the issue I was having. Is I wasn't able to. I mean, they make it. Some of the girls were complaining like, try this and try that, but for a guy, it's a little complicated to genuinely connect with a girl in front of another girl while she's watching because
Right.
she's going to be judging your connection with that girl.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and it's 5 of them doing that all at one time.
Yeah, and when we're seeing that with like Reba and Joy, right? Like Reba cannot handle his connection with Joy. She just can't take it, And that's the other thing too. If you got insecurities like that, like people going on some of these dating shows, these big insecurities, like you shouldn't be going on these shows, right? Because if you're gonna be in a situation when they're gonna be dating their people, it's like you just got to be chill and let them.
Well, that's
do
easy
their
to
thing,
say too, because it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Right,
You
yeah,
just
that's
got done making out with someone, you think that's your person, and then you see him with someone else. That's tough.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So
it's tough.
It's tough all
And
around.
then there may be something else there that we could think about is the fact that Reba has such a heavy, intense situation with Joy. Is that the person he's connecting with more?
Right.
Because and that could be behind the scenes thoughts because she doesn't like Joy for, I personally think, more reasons than we see because maybe that's who he's getting close to.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, because remember, yeah, you're right. Because they even had in the preview for the next episode, Reba was talking to one of the other girls about, have they made out yet? Reba's like, oh, they make out in private. They go off in private and they make out together. Remember that? So
she seems
you're
to
probably
think
right
she's
about that.
really fake for some reason.
Right. Yeah,
because she's
Yeah.
joyful all the time.
Yeah.
Well, she does come off like that, like without always smiling. But if he wasn't connecting with her, Reba still wouldn't have a problem.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, and if he had a strong connection with, let's just say, Annellyse or the girl he sent home, I think Reba would have a problem with them. So I think his strong connection may be Joy.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking you're right, man. Especially like I said, especially after that clip when she was like, oh, I think they're making out in private and stuff. I remember dude in season 1 who thought he was off camera when he's getting ready to make out. And
trying to hide from the cameras. Right. They're everywhere.
That was a request. I said, please don't put this on camera. And they said, okay, do your thing.
They got pretty good zoom lenses, apparently. So
yeah, I should have known. And they gave me room, but you're right. Those cameras are $40,000 cameras. So I thought, I had a little space there. and it just zoomed right in, and you can see it all. Like that. Oh,
Gotcha.
my God. And the reality is,
man.
they did not have to cut that into the episode.
Oh, of course
they
not.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
How early do you think that they know who they're going to choose in the end, the farmers? Do you think it's like a last minute thing, like it seems like it is, or like they know from like the first week, like this girl's going to go to the end with me?
Oh boy.
Maybe you're not the right person to ask. I don't know. But
no, I'm not. I'm not the right person to ask that question. You have to ask Hunter.
Right.
Yeah, you have to ask Hunter. He probably said, yeah, he knew from day one.
Yeah, he was sold on Megan like early. We knew that.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that. So I wonder if there anyone, because, you know, Ty and Melanie made a real strong connection. So I'm wondering if he's like, this is my girl. You know, everyone else, I'm just going through the motions right now.
Yeah.
And they haven't changed much of the format this season from last season.
No, it's jumping around. I think we were doing a lot more farm. I'm going to call it farm work because I've watched them, you know, they cleaned a truck or a tractor. And I mean, I watched the girls on Mitch farm roll a bale of hay.
Or they put up some chicken wire, you know, on Nathan's farm, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's about it. You know, Nathan had him picking some fruit out of a tree.
Yeah.
You know, Ty. I don't know what Ty's had him do. So I've seen them show more of like them off the farm or in the house, which is kind of changing the angle of Farmer Wants a Wife to more of like the normal dating shows, like a little bit of drama, because they're showing a lot of the girls communicating more. They're not showing a lot of that farm, you know, lifestyle.
True. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Because, you know, Landis Farm, they were fixing fences and they were breaking the hay bales down and they were checking the cattle. He had a flood that happened, so he was checking the rain to make sure the cattle were good. Allen's Farm, they had cattle been born and everything. My farm, we were fixing fences and we were working, cleaning stalls, fixing the arena. You know, Hunter's Farm, they were dissect, they were doing a lot of
castrating them.
Castrating. They were castrating cattle, and Landon took them to where they were vaccinating cattle. So they're doing a lot of stuff like that, and I don't even know if there are any cows on this segment except maybe in the background of Nathan's stuff. But
yeah, I think it was. But we did see, we did see Ty gonna have a horse shit fight with his girls, man.
We did see that.
Did that happen to you? You get any horse shit fights with your girls, man?
Yep.
Did you really?
I did. Yep. We were throwing horse poop on each other in the stalls. That's
awesome.
That's the farmer thing to do, apparently.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still early, so maybe there's going to be more of those moments as the show goes on. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I hope so, man.
I'm gonna introduce you guys to somebody.
All right.
Oh, yeah, please do.
How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
What are your thoughts putting up with this guy and his stories?
That's right.
Well, he hasn't called me emotional yet, so I think.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Oh my God, I didn't see that coming.
Oh boy.
Well, see, he's learned from his mistakes, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. That might be it.
Yeah. Funny story, man. You know, the way the process works and all that, I don't know. I hope the best for all of them, but I don't know. I'm really interested to see, but I don't know.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm like, and like I said, man, especially Nathan, man, dude. I hope he comes out of his shell, man. I hope he's able to start kind of putting some moves on these women and just kind of showing them some affection, that he cares about them, and doing something like he's there for the right reasons. So, hopefully he picks it up.
Well, Ryan, we appreciate you coming on the show and standing in for Ashleigh.
Yeah, brother, definitely, man. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. Man, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you're doing so well, man. You got your woman there with you, and life looks seems good. But yeah, well, hey Ryan, thanks again, brother. We appreciate it, man. And hey, everybody, we love doing this for you guys. Love talking to y'all. Let us know what you think. Maybe Ryan will chat with some of you guys in the comments. And all right, guys. Well, hey, we will check y'all at our next review.